Next speaker, Austen Angell, the Service and Industrial Design Revolution. And you have 5 seconds to smile.
I'm going to stretch out because this is the first time that I've had to look up since the invention of the smartphone. My name is Austen Angell. I'm a CEO of Modern Edge. I'm a former director at Intel in digital health and the outgoing chair of the Industrial Design Society. My talk today is about the shape of questions. So even though I got to give it a different title, that's a little bit of a side cut. The shape of questions. What do I mean by the shape of questions? Well, from the perspective of design, well, from the perspective of the tech industry, design has put a bird on it, right? But from the perspective of designers working in this industry, what we're really obsessed with is refining the boundary conditions and organizing around the user. And the reason is because what we really know is that in spite of the hopeful messages that we've heard tonight, everything is terrible. Everything is terrible. Read the New York Times. The VA is in trouble. Obamacare is the best, worst thing that's ever happened since the beginning of time. People are out of shape. We're not moving. We're eating terrible things. Sugar's the new asbestos. And what about bacon? They've taken bacon away. So unfair. And we're not moving. And we're getting larger. And we have an epidemic of childhood obesity. And we have an aging population that's exploding across our country. It's super depressing. Healthcare is broken. Everyone's saying it. It's terrible. Well, that's my time. The thing is, none of that's true. Healthcare is not broken at all. Healthcare is in fantastic shape. The bottom line is we've got the best providers, the best technology, the best science in history. We are in a really great time. The disconnect is the experience. People can't access it. It's not a problem with the machine, it's a problem with the interface. And Steve Jobs was the one that described his own scars in trying to lead industry by starting with the technology. No, you start with the experience. We started healthcare back in ancient times with superstition. We accessed through a belief system, and then fast forward to today, we go through the age of expert craft starting around the ancient Egyptian times, all the way to using design, and then moving forward, we're back in this conundrum where 40% of the population doesn't have a college degree. And so what does that mean? It's not a lack of intelligence, it just means that they're making more decisions emotionally, right? Because as we said earlier, we have clinical health up here, but we have social and personal context that drives most of our decisions. So when we're accessing experience, it's part reality and it's part perception. How do we take technology and make it accessible through perception? Well, if you don't believe me, look at this. It took the medical industry 50 years to undo the work of one cowboy, right? If you used to smoke, you were stressed looking at that picture. So when we look at, the way that we look at problems from a tech perspective is as if they're math problems, geometric problems. We get our calculus out, we shave off a couple of pieces, we block in some big areas. We're pretty proud when we have a nice, elegant, short algorithm to define it. But in human experiences, we're like, wow, that's too complicated. That's got feelings in it. So we'll just put a block here that represents the human beings and go right back to our calculators. We can get nice, discrete answers that we can check and agree on. And that makes us feel pretty good. But the bottom line is what we need to do is use different ways of investigating. So whether it's rapid ethnography or design research, the idea is to go into the field and instead of pretending that you can eliminate bias, admit that there is bias, bring the community into the solution, and then use your back-end processes to sort and use that and take that data and redefine the problem. And that's what we do in design. So let's say that, for example, we take all of this data and we're working in a clinical environment trying to redefine how it works. We need some other tool for organizing that. And what we use is a service design blueprint. The service design blueprint is something that organizes interactions, human interactions. It organizes the products, which are kind of floated through this constellation, all these different products happening. And when we come up with these devices, we have to say, okay, within the context of that service, how do we make them useful, usable, and desirable? So useful means that it's doing specific things in the environment that make your life easier. Usable means that they're accessible from what you know, not from what you can imagine, but what you know, because we're not really good at imagining as human beings. We can think about things, but I can't tell you what I want tomorrow till I'm there. I can only tell you how I want to feel. And then, most importantly, we have to put it in context. So defining environments through design, whether it's a clinic or a hospital experience, or animating those products through that and think about the context, is critical to a successful product. So it doesn't really matter if we're designing the environment or the experience or the user interaction. What's critical is that when we're defining that question, we take that boundary condition, we get nice, smooth, accurate line. Thank you very much. That's my time.